Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Thursday, September 13th. I am Jenny Guy, and welcome to the inaugural Teal Talk. This is our new series. We're going to be doing it twice monthly. We're going to be doing and bringing the best people in the industry from all different sides of it, from monetization to working with brands to affiliate marketing to the tech side. We're going to provide the education that you need. So, in addition to asking the questions I know you're going to ask today in the live, please feel free if you ever have any suggestions for topics that you're interested in or speakers that we need to have on. We are always open to all of that. Everyone's saying hi. Hello, everybody. And let me, without further ado, welcome the only person that I could have for the inaugural episode of Teal Talk. It is the man himself, the architect of our ad tech. It is the prof, Eric Hochberger. Hello, Eric.
I'm the prof now. Okay. Hey, Jenny, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, awesome. I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Excited for some Teal Talk.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's Teal Talk. So we've got a ton of stuff for Eric. Please feel free to ask in the comments as well. But I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions that we had before when we told everyone that we were going to have this guest on. So Kit Graham wants to know. She said, I would love to hear Eric's thoughts on making the most out of Q4. Any tips and tricks to optimize our earning potential? So let's start there with Q4 right around the corner.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you to go for Teal, which is basically our way of saying you got to optimize your site. I've actually been writing a Improve Your RPM series recently on our blog. Those have been coming out pretty much every Monday. There were two great ones that we recently did, which is font size and line height, which I would recommend everyone does. When Courtney and Amy were on the Summer of Live, they mentioned how this was one of their tricks, increasing font size. And a lot of people have done this and seen as much as a 10% increase in RPM. That's a great one. And we have a whole bunch of other of these optimization guides coming out. And it's nothing we haven't been telling you guys already. And these are already available in our help guides, but we're putting them into more digestible, like single post tidbits. So little things like hitting enter more often, writing longer content, how many photos should you insert in a post, all that kind of stuff is already on there, and we'll be releasing a bunch more. And if you're not already doing it, make sure you have video and you're opting it into both the sticky and the video adhesion. Those are all great RPM tricks.
So we're super excited because, yeah, Eric's Go for Teal. If you don't like reading the blog, Eric is now speaking the blog to you with his Go for Teal video series. So you can now, you don't even have to read. That's what we're doing for you here at Mediavine. And then in addition to that, we have another exciting thing coming up on the blog. We're calling it our Q4 challenge. We've got publisher support coming in. We're going to be doing lives on that within the group that we're talking about each week. We're going to give you digestible chunks as well with worksheets and stuff like that on the blog because we want everyone to have the best Q4 of all time. Okay, next question. Marjorie Pilley says she's been ignoring this, but should the keywords be completed in the recipe card? If so, what is the best practice for this? How many? How specific?
So I wouldn't stress too much about the keywords. I know that obviously Google now recognizes that in the schema markup, and a lot of, as a result, recipe cards have added that. However, keywords, much like the meta keywords in the page, are never the most important thing. The most important thing is having good content and having a good title set for your recipe. So the name of your recipe. Have some keywords. Don't stuff with keywords. That's never what it's about. If you have just a few of them, it's okay. Just so you don't have a blank field. But I wouldn't stress about that. That's not the thing that's going to impact your ranking.
Excellent. Okay, and then her follow-up for that, which I know you're going to be talking about soon, is when you talk about keywords for videos and what needs to be entered for Mediavine, because that was something that was just I believe, added, and you're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. So we also added keywords recently to our video player. We're going to be using that actually for a few things. And so I'm going to actually tell you those keywords are more important than the recipe card one. So one of the things we're going to be using those keywords for is we're going to be sending them to Google Ad Exchange. Google Ad Exchange is the largest buyer of ad inventory here at Mediavine. They buy something like 60% of ad impressions are bought by Google. So make sure that you set those keywords, because that is what the advertisers are using to decide if they want to buy ad inventory on that video. So put in some good keywords, because the robots still are not as good at reading videos as Google would like. So that's why they're asking us to give them these keywords. The other thing that keywords are going to be used for is we do output them in schema, similar to how the recipe card does. So if Google chooses to use those to figure out how to parse your video for SEO, the keywords will help you there. And then the final thing we're going to be using keywords for is that's how we're going to index your videos on our side, which is going to be really cool as we go to add things like playlists and things in the future. So we're not currently using them today, but we have plans to use keywords here at Mediavine for our use. So make sure you do them for all videos going forward. If you have a video you're featuring in your video adhesion or your auto insert sticky, they'll greatly benefit from doing the keywords now. Don't stress about going back to old videos that you aren't featuring. I wouldn't say that's the best use of your time. You got a VA, you could stick them on it, but just focus on doing new videos, right?
That sounds perfect. All right, so we're going to talk more about video here in a moment, but I'm getting ready to give you a gift, Eric. I'm going to ask you about page speed.
Oh man,
I know. Okay, Jackie Fisher says, what's considered a good site speed, page load speed? I'd love a target to aim for as we change over a few things on our site. And then the other follow-up question is, what is the single most important thing I can do to improve my site speed?
So when anyone asks about page speed, I have to begin with saying it's important to figure out what you're measuring with page speed. And what I always like to say is we go with what the Google standard is, and that's basically the best experience for users. And that's how quickly that first screen view loads of your page. Because again, page speed is all in the eye of the beholder, the user. How quickly does your page seem like it loads to them? That's what page speed is. It's relative. It doesn't matter how fast it loads for a computer. It loads pretty quickly for a computer. You want to see what a human can see, or slowly for a computer. So basically the goal should be how quickly does that first page view load, and the tools that measure that, or the best two tools, are Google's own page speed insights, or the one they recommend, which is webpagetest.org. The numbers you want to shoot for there, they've recently changed the page speed insights. It no longer gives you a score. It just kind of gives you kind of like a good or a great. You just want to make sure you're green there. So that's going to be that good or great, and make sure you're not yellow or red. And you want to make sure you're that for both desktop and mobile. When it comes to page speed, webpagetest.org, there's a result called the speed index when you get to the final thing. And that is actually how quickly that first screen view loaded. So pretty cool that their speed index, the main index, is testing what we and Google tell you is important. So you should listen to that. Basically, the goal you're going to want is on a mobile phone, make sure that speed index is less than 4,000. And you can choose the device type on the first screen. So if on a phone you have a 4,000 or lower, you have a pretty fast site.
Awesome. All right. So Julia Jordan just said she's so glad she made the font size line space increase, especially with Google's mobile first indexing, and about 65% of her site visits are from mobile users for a better experience for those readers. Listen to Eric, is basically what we're saying.
It's not just about making you more money. What you're going to find is almost everything we tell you is best practices for a website. Mediavine, remember, we run our own websites. We run the largest celebrity gossip site on the internet. We have some solid research behind everything we're telling you. And so much of it comes from what Google are telling you is best practices. So when we're saying do this, most of the time, it's not just to make you more money. Most of the time, it's to actually improve your website and make it run faster and better for users. So font size is so important, and that's something that Google tells you to increase for your mobile users. So please do it. And then, yes, your RPM will go up as well.
Again, it's simple. Just listen to Eric. It's not complicated.
Listen to Mediavine, not just Eric.
Okay, listen to Mediavine. Emma Mason said, if we add keywords to videos after they've been embedded in a post, do they need to update the code on every post?
No, you do not need to update the post. Once you do the embed once, everything you're changing with your videos changes on our side. So we're able to just automatically deliver you the new, latest, updated player with all of your latest info you put in the database. So you get all the free upgrades along the way just by putting in that embed once.
Excellent. Okay, so Michelle Hall asked this earlier, and she's asking it again right now. Michelle Hall says, my teal scores are higher than they ever have been. I listened to every tip Mediavine gave in their replies to my constant questions. She says we're amazeballs. Thank you. Actually, what she said, amazeballs. Just want to get the emphasis right there. The only one she hadn't done yet was get rid of the jump to recipe buttons, which Eric has feelings about. She said she finally did that, and my RPM dropped instead of increasing. She says she knows it's a new quarter, but she waited 8 days in so she could compare to the new quarter rates versus the awesome RPMs at the end of August. When I implemented it, it had dropped $2. Is this something that takes a few days to work into the groove and I need to be patient?
Yes. Thank you for setting me up for a jump to recipe. This is almost as much fun as talking about page speed.
I know.
So one of the issues with the jump to recipe is going to be actually it impacts your viewability. So we do our best to detect if a user is using a jump to recipe and they're going to skip all those ads. We make sure we don't load those ads. If we loaded those ads with no user ever being able to see that, you get a low viewability score. And as far as Mediavine is concerned, that's basically ad fraud. Loading an ad that you have no intention of showing to a user is bad for the advertiser. It's bad for the user. It slows down the site. It's bad for everyone. So our goal is to generally not load those ads. Unfortunately, a couple of jump to recipes have discovered the way that Mediavine detects if people are using that jump button, and they've gotten around it by doing what's called like a natural scroll. And it looks like you're just scrolling down to the recipe, and that's going to trigger all those ads to load, but never be seen. So Mediavine's actually working on a solution to this where we're detecting this velocity or how quickly a user is scrolling. And if they're scrolling too quick, we're not going to load those ads. So we have a fix coming to that to make sure we're not going to load those ads if someone uses a jump to recipe. So what's happening to you in the short term is that your viewability is tanking now on those ads. And so long term, and sometimes unfortunately, it takes advertisers weeks or months to catch up with a drop in your viewability. You're going to get kicked out of campaigns that require higher viewability, and advertisers are just going to stop buying on your site. There is never a circumstance where jump to recipe is good for your RPM. I can promise you that. Short term, maybe there was a $2 fluctuation by adding it, but long term, it's going to lead to a pretty big drop. So be happy that you removed it, and just trust in us when we say advertisers are going to appreciate the fact you removed it long term.
Tobias Oram also said that he had the same experience when he tried dropping his jump to recipe button for 7 days.
Because I'm guessing you guys both use the same plugin, and I can't say the name of the plugin because that's not what we do here at Mediavine. But if you're using a plugin that basically scrolls down the page, but again, we have a fix coming for this very shortly. It's in testing right now. I would say within the next couple of weeks, we should have that live. Making sure that it doesn't break anything else, as one of the things we have to do here at Mediavine is test everything so very extensively. So once that's live, I think no one will ever see that issue again, where RPMs go down from removing that button.
Perfect. Okay, Thea Osborne wants to know what you are using to video. I guess yourself. What are you currently using to video yourself?
The Sony Handycam. I don't know.
Okay, that's what he's using, Thea.
Right.
So okay, let's go to talking about going for teal, which I know you also like talking about. Gloria Dugan says, I have teal for everything except the very top. She's only had that for 2 days ever. What can she do to get all teal all the time?
If I remember correctly, is the top one the sidebar? Is that the top?
I think that's the sticky sidebar, yeah.
Yeah, the hardest one to get. So typically the reason why the sidebar is so hard to get is, one, most of us don't have that much desktop traffic. So it's working on a smaller sample size or smaller group of people using your desktop site. So that stuff's always going to be harder. What I would recommend is, I'm sure you've already done this, is shorten your sidebar as much as possible. Really just have the bare essential. I would have, in my dream world, you'd have an ad at the top, then you'd have maybe your featured posts or an about me, whatever you think is the most important thing, and then the sticky ad. That will make sure that basically that sticky ad loads as quickly as possible, because that's what you want. What the sticky sidebar health is basically measuring, making sure that every user got to that sticky ad down there and making sure it refreshed at least once. And currently that's going to take about 30 seconds to make sure that it's been in view for 30 seconds. So basically, if you can make sure all of your users on your desktop make it down to there, browsing your site long enough for that to be refreshed. So make sure they're on your site for at least 30 seconds after scrolling past that. You should be good to go. If you're not able to hit that, think about things like font size, line height, page speed. You got to remember, a lot of users are just going to bounce immediately when they get to your page if it takes too long to load. You wouldn't even know that if that was happening, but that would load your top sidebar ad, but your bottom would never even be seen. So that's another trick. Just make sure your page speed isn't too slow that users are never even getting to your content. So yeah, I think those are kind of the main tricks. Shorter sidebar, longer content, more engaged content, faster site.
All good things to focus on. Okay, Michelle Palin caught your use of the word automagically and asked if you invented it. Amber then clarified that she invented it and you borrowed it from her.
I believe Disney is the one that invented that one from the Philharmonic, whatever it's called, ride. I don't know. Philharmagic ride, whatever it's called. Yeah. Adorableness, the doors automagically open.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. And yes, and then my 3-year-old niece is watching and she wanted me to say hi. So hello, Jacqueline. Sorry. Okay, so Kim Hannah wants to know, are we working on a way to embed a Mediavine video in the middle of the post rather than having it automatically display at the top of the post?
That is always a sore subject. So currently what we follow is Google's autoplay policy. So if you don't have autoplay enabled on a video, you're going to have a lot fewer views, right? If people have to click play. Generally 1 to 3% of users click play, no matter how great your video is, unless they came to your post for that video. So obviously YouTube, where you're going to a page to watch a video, is going to have a very high click to play, versus something like your site, where maybe they came for a recipe or a travel post or whatever you're writing about. They didn't necessarily come there for a video. That's why autoplay is so important. If you were to run autoplay in the middle of the post, that would be the world's worst user experience, because it would just start playing before you're even down there. That would be bad for advertisers. So typically what you'll see is what's called a scroll to play. So when you scroll and it becomes in view, that's when the video starts playing. That sounds a little bit better, but the problem is that's a Google Ad Exchange policy violation. And we play by the Google rules here at Mediavine. Google, again, is our largest buyer. We are a Google certified publishing partner. Our relationship with Google is incredibly important, and it's not worth the risk. I know you guys have seen other blogs that do it. Good for them. Unfortunately, we can't do that because, again, we don't want you to get your site banned by Google. So we read and follow the Google policy, and it's all published. Anyone here can go read it. And you can clearly see that scroll to play and autoplay below the fold are both still policy violations at Ad Exchange. Again, not Mediavine. That's through Google. And we would love to work with them. It took a while to get them to be okay with muted autoplay, which ironically was forced by the Chrome browser created by Google to only allow autoplay if it was muted, but Ad Exchange didn't allow that for a while. So we worked with Google and they did eventually allow us to run autoplay muted. Now everyone's allowed to run that. So we do work with Google on these things and we hope we can eventually have a scroll to play. But for now, no, short of us having to turn off Google, which we don't think you want since they're the largest buyer of our ad inventory, we can't do it. And again, I'm sorry that other people are doing it. And I know that's frustrating, but you have to do things the right way because that's how you have a long-term successful website.
That's how you get to have your conference at Google and get to go to the bathroom in their really fancy toilets. They have really fancy toilets at Google.
Japanese toilets that warm up and do whatever for you.
People were taking pictures of the toilets at our conference. Okay.
That is why we don't go to play, because of the warm toilets. Okay.
It all kind of boils down to it. All right. We just got a question from Sherry Smotherton Short. She says, any update on getting an income by post report?
Any update on getting, income by, gotcha, right. RPM by post. Right. So to be completely transparent with everyone here, the issue is our ad server, which is, again, another Google product, Google Ad Manager, does not offer a report by post to us. They don't have a report by URL. So we would have to work on a very clever hack in order to do it, but it would never be fully accurate. So what we're working on instead are tools that help you optimize individual posts. So working on health checks that will run on your top posts, maybe not necessarily tell you the exact RPM, because again, anything we would give you would just be an estimate anyway, but tell you this post, why it's performing poorly. Maybe it's not loading enough in-content ads. There's a lot of other metrics we can pull to give you actionable insights. But unfortunately, as long as we're using the Google ad server, there's not really a way for us to do that. And I think for the foreseeable future, we are all going to be using the Google ad server. It powers like 99% of the internet's ads.
So that is where we are. Okay. So this is I'm glad Zona just asked me a question about, she called it Creator, it's Create, but I was going to ask you about this myself. Let's talk about Mediavine Create.
Let's, yeah, please.
All the things. Tell us why we had to create a WordPress plugin, how it started, and what are all the awesome that we're going to be having coming out with it.
Yeah, so Mediavine Create started out kind of, I think a lot of people would call it a recipe card, but it's important to note that Mediavine Create is not just a recipe card. It's a plugin for all content creators. What it's going to do is allow you to mark up content specifically for Google that they recognize. And so that right now is very popular amongst food bloggers, right? Food bloggers have used a recipe card, and that outputs in schema.org or JSON LD or whatever the terms you guys are using, so that Google can parse this, know this is a recipe and I can show it in specialized search results. We're going to be doing that for all types of content with Mediavine Create, and that's why it's important. We have a ton of DIY, a ton of craft, a ton of travel bloggers here. We even have some TV bloggers through our own site, TV Fanatic. And there's ways to mark all that up for Google, but nobody has ever created a plugin to do that. And that's what Mediavine Create is. It's not just about being a recipe card. Absolutely, it's going to be a recipe card. It's going to be an awesome recipe card, but it's going to be so much more. The other reason why we wanted to create something, stop trying to use the word create so much here, but the reason why we wanted to produce our own plugin was because we focus here so much on page speed, user experience, SEO, and monetization. And it's very tough for one plugin to be able to do all those things unless you have all that experience and all that development resources behind you. And that's what we have here at Mediavine. We're an ad management company that knows about SEO, that knows about page speed, that knows about user experience. We're able to combine all that and take input from all of our, obviously, publishers and our own team to be able to create a pretty awesome product, we think. So we think people are going to love it, not just that are food bloggers, but people that have never even had a card before. And Creates is very important to us to be able to offer that to everyone.
Okay, you know what I'm going to ask, and people are asking about it in the comments. When are we going to have it?
Very soon. So right now we are still in beta testing. What we're beta testing next right now is some of the non-food cards. So right now we've been pretty extensively testing things with food bloggers, but we are now working on the craft and DIY testing next. And we just want to make sure everything's all buttoned up before we release it, make sure that it lives up to the Mediavine brand. Beta testers right now have been awesome at giving us feedback and catching bugs. And we want to make sure before we deploy this to what we think is going to be thousands of people, that we have all these kinks ironed out. Right now it's, less than 100 people running it. But that's enough to help us catch these things. We want to make sure it's a very smooth experience when you first activate that plugin and that you don't run into any of these problems. So soon, but we don't want to rush it. We're hoping still for this month though.
So if I wanted to be a beta tester, is that still something I could do?
That is, and hopefully someone awesome can post a link to that form to fill out. I don't know how many people
we can do that.
Right. I don't know how many people we need right now, since again we're now testing non-food bloggers, but I'm sure we can onboard some more.
Georgina Bomer wants to know, until Create is ready, should I be embedding videos into my existing recipe card? Should she keep doing that?
So this is something I think we all need to solve, and that's even going to be an issue with Create, and that's figuring out where a video should live in a post. Obviously, we want it at the top so that we can do that autoplay that we talked about before. Google wants you to mark up the recipe card to say where the video is so they can put that into their search results. We think there's going to be a pretty good hybrid solution that's going to do both when Create comes out. And we're going to work with other plugin developers to make sure that their recipe cards also support this new format, which is, again, encouraging users to watch it, while at the same time giving Google what they want. So, and again, I want to make something clear. When Mediavine Create comes out, we're not telling everyone they have to switch over to. We absolutely 100% realize that other people love other recipe cards, and other recipe cards offer features that Mediavine Create won't. And if you want to continue to use those, that's 100% fine here at Mediavine. We always have and always will continue to work with other plugin developers to make sure that they can optimize for Mediavine ads, optimize for SEO, use the Mediavine videos in there. So yeah.
Okay, but just to make another thing clear, what if I'm not a Mediavine publisher? Can I use Create, or is it just for Mediavine publishers?
So Mediavine Create is going to be available in the WordPress repo, which means anyone can install it. It is not exclusive to Mediavine publishers. However, Mediavine publishers will get exclusive features in Mediavine Create. Some of those are just going to be because it requires an account here at Mediavine. So in order to use videos in Mediavine Create, you're going to need to be a Mediavine publisher to be able to upload videos here. We are not going to support third-party videos. Obviously, that's how we make our money. So it wouldn't really make sense for us to not do that kind of stuff. And obviously, there's going to be other exclusive features such as support. We're only going to be offering one-on-one support that you guys are all used to as Mediavine publishers to Mediavine publishers for Create as well. So there's going to be other features that will be exclusive, but anyone will be able to run it.
Excellent. Good to know. All right. So how will Create help improve earnings? What are some of the things you're most excited about for that?
So Create's going to do an awesome job of optimizing ad placements. So we're pretty sure that that's going to be the best thing to help with monetization in the short term. So we're going to make sure that ads, first, you're able to run more than one ad in the recipe card. So a lot of users do want to have shorter content up top and more of their content inside the card. When we see that, typically, we're only able to have about one ad per recipe card right now. But with Mediavine Create, if you want to put more of your content in there, such as you do step-by-step or longer instructions, we'll be able to now have multiple ads inside the card. That alone should significantly increase RPMs for publishers that do that. Additionally, it's going to have best practices for where that ad should be placed. We're designing all the themes, and we're going to work with future theme developers to make sure that any of those themes are designed to have a great ad placement in them. Additionally, since you are now marking things up within this database, we're going to be able to do more custom opportunities within Create. So Mediavine publishers will be able to sell custom native ads within the card that we weren't previously able to do, since we didn't necessarily have control over those cards. So good stuff coming in the future, but short term, it's going to improve your recipe card ad earnings.
And Emma Mason wants to know, will Create recipes have the ability to switch from UK measurements to US measurements?
Yes, I believe that feature is currently turned off right now, but it's something that has been developed and will come back. Again, there's a lot of things that we're working through all of the kinks during this beta, but absolutely that feature will be coming back.
Kemery wants to know, can I assume Create will be extensible via WordPress actions and hooks and be open to developer pull requests?
Of course. I cannot say we'll be open to developer pull requests. It's not going to be an open source. Some of the aspects will not be open source. So we use, since you sound like a developer, we use React. So a lot of our code actually lives inside of a different code base. So that will not be open to pull requests. But we're absolutely going to be extremely developer friendly. We're going to have a full set of hooks and actions for you to be able to tie into. We actually are going to open up a Slack channel. I believe we already have it for developers to be able to come in and speak directly with our developers to work with them to be able to extend Mediavine Create. And we're going to offer a ton of resources for developers. We don't want this to be a closed system at all.
The only part of that I understood was the Slack part, but I'm glad that you and Kemery are on a wavelength there.
Absolutely. Developers will love Mediavine Create and love working with it.
Perfect. Diana Hansen wants to know, will the words within Create count towards your overall word count?
So generally, what I always tell people, yes, you should be absolutely counting the words inside of your recipe card towards that post word count. I don't know if they're going to use the official WordPress word count that it does in there, but you as a blogger should be counting that. If that's not something that we do, maybe we can add that feature. I shouldn't add new features or the team will kill me. But for your own internal numbers, like know that, yes, that counts towards what Google is parsing on your page. So it will count towards your total word count. for SEO purposes.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about the design options with Create, because I know that's one of the most exciting things that it's going to make the card fit in and look native with the site. Yeah,
so we actually partnered with Lindsay of Her Designs to design our original themes here at Mediavine Create, and the way she did it was very clever, which is kind of a more of a minimalistic approach to how you do things like fonts. So don't hard code like this is the font that Mediavine Create is going to use. It's going to inherit more and more from your theme. We do the same thing with kind of like colors and font sizes, which means it's going to be very flexible. So not all Mediavine Create cards will look the same. They're all going to have that same awesome, beautiful theme design, but they're all going to look more custom to your site. Kind of, again, automagically, we'll use that word again, just by inheriting the CSS of your main site. So yeah, it'll look like your site. It'll look great.
So we're getting questions. I apologize. Kimmery said I missed the previous Gutenberg question. We got a bunch right there. I think that we're talking about the relationship between the Mediavine Create, if the card is ready, and its interaction with Gutenberg.
So Gutenberg is, so with the latest version of WordPress, we're 100% going to work. If you're using the Gutenberg editor, our developers are working to make sure that our card will also work within that editor. Typically, what we're telling people is because most plugins will not work with that editor, you can disable that editor after updating to the latest version of WordPress. Still recommend doing that for the time being until the entire plugin community has caught up. But I believe, yes, we're going to make sure that we are not one of those people holding you back from running Gutenberg's editor.
Okay, we talked a lot about Create. Now I'm going to switch to video because it is still the year of video. You declared it the year of video.
Can we talk? Left, yeah.
We have a few months left of it. I have a feeling that 2019 might also be another year of video. It's a lot of years of video. So why are you so into video, Eric Hochberger? What is so important about video, and why are you encouraging all of our publishers to start doing any kind of video that they can?
So we're going to declare this the decade of video now? Is that what this is? Okay.
We'll do that.
All right. So during the decade of video, it's so important to upload video and create video, because first, from an ad standpoint, it does very, very well. CPMs, or what advertisers are willing to pay for video ads, it tends to be about 3 to 5 times as much as they're willing to pay for a display ad. But really the reason why it's so important is most video is moving, and this is how users are interacting with video, from traditional kind of broadcast television over to our devices. This is how people watch TV now. I'm sure all of you guys watch Netflix or whatever it is at home. And most of the time you're not doing that during traditional broadcast anymore. So advertisers are recognizing that those dollars are moving away from broadcast TV and into the digital or the internet. So we want to make sure that you are prepared to capitalize on that as more and more spend moves here. Video is extremely important. Users also want video. You can see how well videos do on Facebook. There's a reason why Facebook kind of featured videos. There's obviously video is coming to all sorts of social platforms. Video is going to do very well. And obviously YouTube, the second largest search engine on the internet, is entirely a video site. So yeah, video is important to users. It's important to getting traffic to your site. And it's very important to the long-term growth of your business. I know video is not easy to produce, and I know it's not cheap. And that's why we're trying to come up with so many of these unique video ad units, such as the sticky and the video adhesion, to help make sure you're making more money. And we have even more tricks up our sleeves to make sure that you're maximizing your video revenue. So it's important that hopefully in the future, every publisher here at Mediavine figures out a way to produce video.
Talk to me about those 2 units that you just mentioned.
Sure. So the video adhesion is unique and custom to Mediavine. That's at the bottom of all mobile pages. We typically would run a display ad there, just a regular boring banner. But if you opt into the video adhesion, you're able to select one of your featured videos. And that video now is going to play kind of in an autoplay muted environment for the user. So it's not going to play sound or disrupt their experience. It's going to be a nice small little thing that follows them as they scroll. Feedback from users have been that they absolutely love this unit, which is very rare to say about any advertising unit. It allows you to feature your content. It has a link for them to go to that post. A lot of people use them to feature kind of some of their top recipes or their top posts down at the bottom. So we think it's great for user experience, and revenue-wise, it does incredibly well because, again, 3 to 5 times the earnings. We see some sites that 20 to 30% of their earnings can come from that one individual ad unit. So it's great, and we have, again, more tweaks even coming to the video adhesion. The other one is the sticky player. So this is going to be kind of the counterpart on desktop. So on desktop, we have a sticky player. So as you scroll past an autoplay video that happens at the end, the top of your post, it's going to stick with the user in either the bottom right or the bottom left of the page. This is similar to what you've had in your Facebook feed or large sites like CNN have, and ESPN. So users are used to these kind of experiences. It's not maybe as great as the video adhesion, but the sticky is kind of a universal standard. It's accepted by Google ad policy, and we see it do incredibly well. So in general, desktop users are worth more than mobile users. Desktop users are a dying breed, so CPMs are only going up for them. In addition to that, you have more cookies on a user. So as they browser history and things that make them more valuable than a mobile user. So desktop users are worth more. So the sticky is going to make you even more money than a video adhesion, even though it's on a small percentage of traffic. So keep that in mind, that you may not make as much on the sticky as the video, but again, it's operating on 20% of your traffic versus 80%. So we think both of them are kind of like an essential strategy to making sure you're showing video to every user on both desktop and mobile.
Talk to me about choosing that featured video. What are we looking for in terms of the qualities for it? I mean, someone just asked again, Diana Hansen just asked, since the video is silent, do you recommend adding words and captions? What criteria are we looking into here when I'm choosing the video to feature?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, this is going to come down to you're choosing the video for your user. Don't think about choosing the video for the advertiser. I know there's a bunch of people that saw that maybe some videos perform a little bit better for advertisers and they'll want to choose that. Don't worry about your advertiser. The difference in CPMs between how different videos will perform are not that significant. As long as you have a good title, fill out those keywords, and your video is at least 30 seconds long, pretty much most of your videos will perform within a few percentage of each other. So think about your user. And much like, again, yes, with Facebook, where it's the same thing, it's autoplay muted, people have really figured out how they can use captions to best tell their story when you don't have audio. So 100% think about doing that same thing. Put in little captions. So think about your users not having audio on and making sure they get the right experience with that video.
And guys, on testing out that video, Courtney and Amy Sugarman, when we did Unlocking RPM on the Summer of Live, they talked about their testing strategy. So if you go to our YouTube channel, that's uploaded on there. It's the video called Unlocking RPM, and they talked about how they go through testing periods for a lot of different things on their site. Eric, can you talk to me a little bit about how I can optimize my site to make the videos perform even better in terms of RPM?
Yeah, so again, the most important things to do are enabling those two units. So video adhesion, you enable just a simple checkbox. You turn it on, you choose a video, you're good to go. Sticky is going to be a little bit different because the way the sticky player is, we think it's a lot more kind of intrusive of an experience. So what we prefer everyone does is actually embed a video that is specific to that post. So the video adhesion is kind of like something that's at the bottom of your page and doesn't disrupt the experience as much versus the desktop sticky player, which is the first thing you see. So it's really important that you are embedding a unique video that you think is the best experience for that user to watch. You can do that via the Mediavine control panel. There's now just a little click button that add video. And then you can use the feature in our dashboard called auto promote video. That's what we'd recommend doing. And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically convert a video that it finds in that post to be a sticky video player. So that way you don't have to go back through and update old posts. Any posts that have it, have a video in it, will automatically get that sticky experience. And that's a great experience for user. If you're showing them a video that's related to that post, the user is going to love it. The advertisers will love it. And you'll ultimately, as a publisher, love the increase in the RPM. So putting a unique, it doesn't have to be unique to just that one post. Remember, you can reuse videos. So if you find a video that applies to multiple posts, absolutely reuse that video and just have on that auto promote feature. In addition to that, we have the auto insert feature. The auto insert feature is going to, on any post that doesn't have a video, automatically insert a video for you. We see a lot of publishers find success with having kind of a reader's favorite or a most popular post. And then you're even able to insert a title in our dashboard settings where it'll have a little heading up before the video. So the user's like, what the heck is this showing? you can tell them. And so a lot of users don't mind that one if you explain to them what you're about to show them and it's relevant to that post. So if you kind of run the two of those are the best optimizations you can make. And of course, make sure you fill out your keywords and your title for any of the videos that you're featuring.
Perfect. So Julia Jordan says, how do you change which video is featured and shows up in posts that don't already have a video? Can I get my awesome team to post our help docs and our blog posts on how to do all these things that Eric is talking about, please, in the comments? And will you answer Julia for me, Eric?
Oh, man. Yeah, so you can do it under the settings if you click on video. So settings in the top right-hand corner. And then when you click on the video tab, there's going to be a little drop down called featured video. And that's going to be the same featured video that works for both your video adhesion and your sticky.
Perfect. Okay, Alex, thank you. Alex is posting stuff. So one of the things that I've seen a lot of people maybe hesitate on because you have to upload your videos through our dashboard through Mediavine to monetize in this way. A lot of people talk about YouTube and they say that they're wanting to grow their YouTube audience and can they use YouTube videos on our site? And can you talk a little bit about the relationship between us and YouTube and why it is the way it is? Thank you.
So first, we think the same way that you're going to upload videos to Facebook to get more traffic, you're going to want to upload videos to YouTube to get more traffic. We are never telling you to not also upload to YouTube. Again, YouTube is the second largest search engine on the internet. And so it's a great source of traffic for you. So please upload your videos there. Yes, it will be a second upload you'll have to do of that video, the same way you already have to also upload it to Facebook. We don't currently have a way of pulling in easily for a video from YouTube into our dashboard, but that's a great idea. But once you have to upload it twice, when you get over that fact, we'd recommend you always embed the Mediavine one into your post. So when they're actually visiting your site, they should be watching the Mediavine version of it, which is going to be the one that's going to perform way better for you. It's going to monetize extremely high CPMs, much higher fill rate than YouTube, which historically will pay you pennies if you're running those embeds on your page. And I understand the desire to try to grow your YouTube audience. However, think of YouTube as a separate audience than your website audience. We also do offer the ability to, at the end of every video, put a subscribe button. So when a user stops watching a video, it still allows them to subscribe to your YouTube channel, which will give you the same growth. No, you won't get credit as a video view on YouTube, but I wouldn't worry about that as much as making sure you optimize your videos for YouTube. And there's entire SEO sections on this. If you listen to the Theory of Content podcast with Josh and Amber, I believe they talk about this stuff, but things like using transcriptions. So actually transcribing your posts, so the closed captioning, writing good descriptions, having a good length of the videos. There's a ton of things that go into the YouTube SEO. I would not sacrifice monetizing your site with those videos to try to grow the YouTube audience. Grow them separately and independently.
Sherry Smotherton Short actually just said, right as you were saying the word subscribe to button, said, since having that subscribe to my YouTube option on my Mediavine videos, I'm getting more subscribers to my YouTube channel. So there's, again, so basically both of them exist. I'm going to ask this question. I asked this the last time you were on. It's not related to video, but I just want to make sure that we get it out there. I'm going to make you say it every time you come.
That's it.
Does Mediavine only work with WordPress sites, Eric?
No, absolutely not. So yes, a majority of our websites are WordPress, but a majority of the internet's websites are WordPress. So yes, we work with WordPress sites, but we also work with non-WordPress sites. We have plenty of Blogger sites. We have plenty of Wix sites. Shopify even we have a few of. We have a lot of Squarespace. So our technology will work with any CMS out there, CMS content management system. So not just exclusive to WordPress. The Mediavine Control Panel, which is our plugin, and the Mediavine Create plugin are exclusive to WordPress. And again, that's because we're able to offer the most value to the most number of publishers by doing the WordPress open source platform. So we want to provide value to those people, or the most number of publishers we can, and that's why we had to go down that avenue. If you are on a non-WordPress site, you still fully get all of the advantages of the Mediavine monetization options and our video player and everything I'm describing.
We do not hate on other platforms. That is not true. Thea Osborne said, is there a platform that we recommend? Do you want to recommend a platform?
Yeah, I mean, if you do not have a site now, or if you're considering migrating, I would always still recommend WordPress. And that is WordPress.org, which is the one you host yourself, not WordPress.com. If you have WordPress.org, that is an open source project. That's something that anyone can work on, anyone can create plugins for. Obviously, Mediavine is doing that for our publishers. I'm a programmer, like that's my background. I will always support open source projects before any closed source project. And pretty much every other thing out there is now at this point that's not WordPress. It's kind of a closed source platform. If you have something else that you're creating yourself, a custom thing, that's also great and awesome. And a lot of those people use like Drupal and other such open source projects. So we're not going to say you have to run WordPress, but it's a super easy one for any publisher here to be able to use. And it's open source, which kind of combines the best of both worlds. And again, this is not telling you have to use it. I'm not bad mouthing any other platform out there. If you have a website that is running on Squarespace and you love it, stay there. I promise you, I'm not trying to sell you on moving.
No, and Jackie Fisher just said she runs a Joomla site and she loves us. So
yeah, there you go.
We're open. We're open to all. All are welcome. So Jackie Fisher says, so do the dedicated videos perform better CPM-wise than the sticky video does since it's related to keywords in the post?
So again, I don't like to think about this stuff as much from an advertiser standpoint as much as a user experience when I tell you that, and an SEO standpoint. So embedding a post is going to mark it up with schema.org because that is specific to that post. So now that post is going to rank in Google video searches. So in that, like out the gate, you're going to get more traffic as a result of using an embedded video versus using the auto insert. So you're going to get more traffic. Your users are going to be more likely to watch and not close the sticky. So remember, our sticky video player is closable by the user. And if they close it, you're going to get what's called a low completion rate. So advertisers are measuring all sorts of back-end stats to determine if they want to keep buying on your site. On video, a big one is completion rate. And that's completion of their ad. At the end of the day, they don't care if people watch your video. Sorry. Advertisers want completion of their advertisement. And so if you don't have a good video, and that's going to be teased at the top, or something that feels relevant to the user, they're going to be more likely to keep closing that out. So you want to provide a good user experience so they're willing to sit through the advertisement to get to your content. So ultimately, yes, long-term, it's going to lead to higher RPMs by delivering relevant content to your user. But that's kind of our mantra on everything here.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're back to that. It's always user experience, and that always makes it also happens to make you more money when you make your viewers happy. Okay, Claudia Colenzo Lamascolo, and I want to apologize. I said Sherry Smotherton and it's Smothermun, and I butchered your last name. I read it quickly. Mea culpa, Sherry. I know you. I love you.
That's a Hofberger, I feel, for the butchered last names. It's okay.
Someone actually at one of the questions was how to pronounce your last name, but Amber took care of that in the comments, so we didn't have to ask that out loud. So Claudia wants to know, do you know why Google Hangouts can't be converted to Mediavine? All Hangout videos I have ever done won't work or upload after saving the MP4.
No, I did not know about that until now. We'll have to take a look at one of them and try to figure out why.
Please have her email in.
Yeah, email in. A lot of times it might be down to file size. I'm not sure how compressed they are, but given that it's Google, I'm guessing it's pretty compressed in a small file size. But yeah, email in. Let's take a look.
Awesome. Okay, Michaela Martin Kinkle says, I have noticed people adding blah, blah, recipe plus video to their titles on Google. Is this a good idea?
I don't think that's... Sure, whatever format works for you. So I know bloggers tend to have their own interesting syntax with how they kind of mark things up, whether there's a video in it. I think that's more for your user. That's certainly not for Google. That's not going to help you with SEO. If your regular readers appreciate that, do it, test it, see if it helps improve click-through rates from the search engine results. Maybe it gets more people to click through if they know there's a video associated with it. But I can't speak to whether that's like a best practice or not. I know bloggers have their own best practices.
They do.
And I'm guessing that's based upon their readership.
Yes, and blah blah doesn't sound super appetizing for a recipe title. Just Just throwing that out there.
Let's start with the blah, blah, right? We'll fix that part first.
Blah, blah. Karen Gibson says she's seeing more and more 60-second ads. How does that impact completion rates? 60 seconds online is a long time.
Oh, no, 60 seconds is a lifetime. So we have here at Mediavine, we have a great blog post on this if someone wants to link to it, and that's the skippable versus non-skippable ads. So at Mediavine, if any video advertisement is going to be longer than 15 seconds, there should be a skip button there. If there's not, use the report ad button to let us know that it's not working. Basically, we tell the advertisers the maximum length you can run if it's not skippable is 15 seconds. If they're violating that, we got to get that ad kicked out of the exchanges. So report it to us. That's not the intention of the player. So if it's a 60-second long ad, there's a skip button. And that advertiser should hopefully realize that they're probably not going to get high completion rates because they're running an insanely long video. On mobile web, there's even movements to a 6-second long video, 6 seconds. So that format does really well in terms of completion rates. So advertisers are kind of moving more towards that 15 and 6-second. The issue is a ton of them come from broadcast, right? Where they're able to run 30-second or 60-second long ad spots. And they're just like, oh, let me just go upload my advertisement right here to these internets. They think it's going to work. But that's obviously not how it works. You have to create, just as we have to create different videos for YouTube versus our own sites versus Instagram, they should be doing the same thing with their advertisements. And they're kind of learning that and slowly evolving. The ad industry does not always move as quickly as we'd like. But yeah, I think those 60-second ones are going to slowly go away.
Karen said they've all been unskippable. Sherry said that she learned about the skippable thing from my teen sons who know from watching YouTube. And can we get someone to post that skippable versus non-skippable blog post in the comments for us? Okay. We have a question from Christine Mellinson, which I was going to ask. Christine, you stole my question. We'd love to know what's coming next for the Mediavine video player. Talk about what's on the horizon.
Yeah, I can kind of spoil this. And again, developers love when I do this stuff. What we're working on now is what we call, so at the end of a YouTube video, I'm sure you've experienced this, it auto plays the next thing and it will kind of give you a preview of what's playing next and it'll hop into your next most relevant video. That's kind of what we're building here. That's to make sure that when a user finishes watching an ad then your content, then they're going to get a chance to watch another ad, another video content. That will happen in your video adhesion. That can happen in your sticky player. That can happen in your regular embeds. So that's kind of what we're working on next. At the same time, our video player recently received some awesome optimizations in terms of its bandwidth usage. This is not a thing that we typically promote, but we were able to cut in half how long all the videos take at Mediavine for your users to download with no decrease in quality. We're able to do that by using awesome new technologies called H.265 and VP9 for the geeks out there. But basically using new encodings, we were able to make your videos load twice as fast. So that was one of the things we were working on with the video player. Because again, so much of we focus so much on page speed and user experience that we prioritize that here. Another thing we've been working on behind the scenes is kind of working with reducing the number of advertisements that cause errors. So as I mentioned before, sometimes they'll submit a 60-second long ad that they shouldn't have. So we're working on more automated solutions to catch and squash bad ads in video. Bad ads in video are even more prevalent than display and more obvious to the user when it's happening. So we've been working a lot on that. In addition to that, just in general, working on our video player to make sure you're making the most amount of money, adding new advertisers to the mix, optimizing things with our auction dynamics to make sure that advertisers are paying the most amount of money for your video inventory. So kind of all that stuff has been happening behind the scenes, but stuff you're going to notice are things like that autoplay of a next video or after completion. So we're really excited about that feature, and that should be probably the next major feature coming out to the video player.
It's exciting. Claudia says she's looking at her CPM. Should she be selecting the videos that are the highest CPMs, or how does that work? She says she has 150 videos that she's been converting. She's wondering if that CPM, she
High five
like,
for that. That's awesome. Thank you.
She said she wants to know, should she be focusing on that CPM when selecting?
No, but you are leading the decade of video with 150. That is awesome. Thank you. No, don't worry as much about the CPM of individual videos. As I was saying before, as long as you write a good title, have keywords in there, and have a duration or the length of your video longer than 30 seconds, you're going to do pretty well in the ad exchanges. Focus more on your users. So again, like if you have something that's seasonal and recommend, and this is a great time of the year to be featuring that video, feature that video. Don't feature whatever's paying the most. If pumpkin spice lattes are paying the most, you don't want to run them during non-pumpkin season. I don't know. That seems like a relevant thing. But the point is like run for your user, not for the advertiser.
I'm just really glad that you worked in pumpkin spice latte into the PSL, into our live, Eric. It would have felt vacant without it had you not done that. Okay, so we are at we are almost out of time. There are a couple other things I wanted to ask you. Kim had one question, and then I'm going to get the final question, which is from Sherry. Kim says, will the next up video be videos from other bloggers or more like a playlist of my videos?
Playlist of your videos. The other concept, which we're calling like syndication, which would be playing other bloggers' videos, is not something currently in the works. This would be or in the short term. So no, we wouldn't be playing other publishers' videos. It would be yours. So it's a chance for you to, again, show your readers another video and also a chance to make another ad impression. So at that very high CPM that video monetizes at. So it'll be your own videos. And that's kind of what we're working on, figuring out which videos to show next, allow you to choose which ones you want to promote, which ones you don't want to promote, giving you guys kind of all the flexibility. That cool feature. That
is really exciting. Okay, so Sherry wanted to know, and I want to know, expanding beyond video, what is on the horizon for Mediavine? And I'm gonna give a couple of little announcements while you think about what you're gonna spoil or not spoil, but talk about what we're looking forward to.
I know what I'm ending on, don't worry.
Okay, got it.
Take it away.
All right. Okay, guys, thank you so much. We are so excited about Teal Talk. It's going to be awesome. In 2 weeks, on the 27th, we have Tailwind Best Practices. We have 2 people from Tailwind. We have Elisa Meredith, the Content Marketing Manager, and Melissa Megginson, their Marketing Manager. They're going to be here to talk about all of the things Tailwind. We know Pinterest grows traffic, and they're going to be here to teach you how to really maximize that platform and get your audience coming. Then I'm going to have Amber Bracegirdle, one of our Mediavine co-founders, SEO expert, user of the word automagically. She's going to be here in a few weeks. And then we also are going to have Marie Leggett, the curvy fashionista herself, on here talking about how to totally kill affiliate marketing. So we've got a lot of really awesome stuff coming up in the next couple of months. I'm going to turn it back over to Eric Hochberger, who I've just got to say, even though he is my boss, it's pretty awesome. You don't see a lot of people that are willing to come on and say, ask me anything, because they know so much and they trust in their knowledge and expertise in their field. So I think it's awesome. Now that I've given you a compliment, we can just skip right past it and you can say what you were going to say for the last
blushing over here. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, no. So I think what we're most excited about here at Mediavine, we have so much going on, obviously, besides Mediavine Create, all the video stuff we've talked about during, obviously, this video, during Teal Talk here. But what we're most excited about is actually we're unveiling a whole new version of our script wrapper in the next few weeks. So the actual underlying ad technology that finds that high-paying ad unit and delivers them to the best spots on your page, that's been completely rewritten from the ground up by our amazing engineering team. And we're seeing unbelievable results in testing. Again, here at Mediavine, we extensively test everything. And so it's been testing for over a month now, maybe close to 2 months. So that will be coming out soon. We've seen people seeing gains from 10 to 20% just from this new technology. And what's more exciting about it to us is that it's going to allow us to release more features much quicker to you guys. So it's not just about the short-term gains, but it's the long-term success for everyone here. And that's been the culmination of a lot of work by our engineering team for the last year. So that's finally coming out very, very soon. So we're extremely excited by that. And we're going to make sure that Mediavine publishers continue to earn the highest RPMs, have the most traffic growth, and are the most successful publishers on the internet. So for a long time to come. So we're very excited.
So just that, like not a big deal, just that.
No big deal.
That little thing. We do have an amazing engineering team. We've got an amazing team all around at Mediavine. I've had a great time chatting with you, Professor Hochberger. I'm very glad that we got to spend time together.
Jenny.
Yes, and go get yourself a pumpkin spice latte. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks for Tailwind Best Practices. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the Mediavine YouTube channel for this and other really great content for publishers.
Thanks, everyone. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.